just one of the frustrations of studying political science is that a lot of what we're studying has to do with people telling us the truth. And so when you go out and you do polls and you ask people, who they're going to vote for, we don't know that they're actually telling us the truth of that, and there's a variety of reasons why they may not want to. And so I think kind of just humans are not trustworthy necessarily, and so if that's what you're trying to poll and go based off of, people change their minds or they don't tell you the whole truth to start with, and so that creates its own problems. Plus you're sampling, so you're taking, you can do it in the most scientific way possible, but you're still sampling a population, and so you don't know for sure that you're going to have everybody accounted for in it. But you do this sort of thing, so you can talk about it a lot more than I can.
Well, the first thing I'll do is I'll push back. The national polls weren't wrong; they were spot on. I mean, they were literally spot on. The national polls, the aggregate said that Hillary Clinton would get between 2% and 4% more votes than Donald Trump, and she got about 3% more votes than Donald Trump. So the national polling was literally spot on. It couldn't have been more right. Problem is that ain't how we elect presidents in the United States of America. So the errors of the polls were in 5 particular states, and I'm not going to remember them all. They were in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. And so those states were off by small amounts, regularly. So the people who were adding up the state polls to see, what would happen in the Electoral College, that was wrong. You could have been a swing of, out of 100 million voters, 70,000 in Wisconsin made the difference. So the national polls were actually spot on. The state polls are where, in at least some examples, you had issues. Now, as far as sampling, that's absolutely right, and sampling has changed dramatically. Raise your hand if you still have a landline. Yeah, so that ain't how we used to. We used to do polling landline only. Keep those hands up if you still have a landline. Okay. Now, lower them if you also have a cell phone. So it used to be polls are done completely on landlines. Some of them still are. Robopolls or automated polls or interactive voice response, IVR polls, can only call landlines. It is against the Telecommunications Consumer Protection Act of 1991, updated in 1996, for auto polling to call cell phones. So when you read some of these polls, if they are done by IVR automatic polling, they are only polling cell phones, and obviously the young, hip people here who still have cell phones, that's not reflective of the people who only have landlines, right? So you are not polling the entire electorate, much less population. So right now you have to use live callers in order to call cell phones. You cannot do it otherwise. So you have to have the proper sampling, you have to be doing it the proper way, and you have to screen for likely voters the proper way. And the one thing about getting it right in the states last time that we're changing this time is it's not always common to weight by education. You always have to weight by age, race, and sex, of course, but when it comes to election predicting, if you don't add education and weight by education, you're probably going to be off. So that's the biggest change from 2016 that we learned.